Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Nunu models, and this one comes in 1/24 scale. So what we get here is the BMW M4 GT3. It's the car from 2022, and as you can see, it's named as a year of the champion. So you get this shell marking car, which you can replicate in a popular car scale, and it will be interesting to check what is actually copied here, how the features are rich in this plastic. And of course, what I have here on the table, it was purchased with help of your donations. So some of you were actually writing and asking to review this particular kit, so here we are. And the price should be approximately 50 euros from what I remember, maybe something 40, 50. And as you can see, the box size is not that huge. So here is comparison with my hand. We have quite nice box art, but I think it's typical for this manufacturer. And also we have here the note that decals are Italian printed, which is quite interesting as well. Here on the side you can see the pictures of the finished model. So it's quite colorful thanks to this shell livery, but I guess there will be also some aftermarket releases as well. Here we have also the paint numbers, and that's pretty much all. So no history note. In case you would like to have more information, you should find your own references. And this is something what I would recommend to do, because it will give you a bit better look on how to copy the car in a scale. So as you can see, the packaging is surprisingly tight. We also have the car body packed without any boxing, which is a bit dangerous, and in some cases you can end up with the broken parts or broken sections of this part. But well, let's see how my example or sample arrived to us. And we start with the first plastic sprue. This one is actually the chromed sprue, and I would say that the chrome is looking surprisingly good. So all of this chrome surface is usually being recovered or reapplied by professional modelers, but I think these parts are looking decent. So it's just a matter of painting them in a proper color, because there are also some lenses to paint in a proper shade, but otherwise it should be quite fine, and I don't think you'll have any issues. Of course, if you are still not convinced, you are free to recover it or repaint it, but this is already some extra work which I would not understand in this case. I would rather invest this time into something different in the kit. Next we continue with another plastic bag. What is good here is that we have the resealable plastic bags, so that's why they are easy to open, and later you can store your sprue inside. So here, as you can see, we have the front and rear bumpers, and the front bumper looks quite impressive. As you can see, these complex shapes are nicely replicated here, and also here we have the rear diffuser. Also we have some parts for the rear wing, so all of this should be assembled one by one. And the modern racing cars are quite interesting because of this. They have quite developed aerodynamic elements, and I think this is also a good chance to experiment with various assembly methods, or maybe even with the paint approach, so that you get a bit more convincing result. Next we continue with a clear plastic sprue, which looks very nice. So just give me a second to move it to the side, and I will show you what I'm talking about here. So here are the glasses for this car, and as you can see, they are looking almost like real glass. That's why I say the glasses. All of these transparencies should be applied instead of windows, and also the headlamp and tail light lenses, and also the fog lamps. So all of this is provided in the standard package. I'm not sure if we get the masks here, so this is something we will check further in the review. But the overall quality of these parts is really decent. And in case there are no masks in this kit, then maybe we will see some aftermarket later, because I think this car will be quite popular among modelers. Next, we continue with car body. So as you remember, it was packaged without any box protection. What is also notable is that we have the shut doors, we have the shut bonnet, and the trunk as well. And of course the whole front mask is molded separately, except of this top section of the air intake, and it will be interesting how they combine together. And also inside, well, there are not that many features. We have push marks, we have also the logo of the manufacturer, but I guess the interior will be as simple as on the real car. Only the essential things are actually included there. But we will see it a bit further when we will start checking the white plastic sprue. For now, I've opened the black plastic sprue because here we have the wheel rims, which are provided in, I think those are 2 different sizes from what I can see here, but the difference is really small. And as you can see, the overall quality looks rather nice. These are center bolt rims. And I think it's also a good idea to replicate some metal finish with this, or you can just use the black color. And as far as I remember, the real car had the black wheels. I'm just checking the photo, but maybe it's also a good opportunity to play a bit with the what if config, in case you are not, let's say, insistent on the shell marking replication in this kit. Next, I continue with black plastic sprue, and here we have the sprue A. So this one is molded in a black plastic, as I said before, so it's worth opening the lenses. Here we have the instrument panel, driver's seat, also the rear cover, and also some parts for the air intake from what I can see here, some parts for the front bumper and side view mirrors. And all of this looking good, so it's just a question again of getting more references in order to understand how those parts should be painted, because it will be quite important for a quite convincing finish on your model. And I think in 1/24 scale it's definitely a good idea to get some real photos. Next we have the vinyl tires and the mesh. So as you can see, this will have to be combined with the rims, which we saw before. We also have the vinyl polycaps here. So a pretty much standard package, that's why I'm not opening it, because these vinyl tires, they do not even have the details on the tire walls, which is rather strange, because we already seen some kits in 1/24 scale which provide some features on the tire walls, but here it's not the case, and I wonder why. And also probably we'll see some aftermarket, which is 3D printed, but well, it's not in the standard package again. Next we continue with the white plastic sprue. This is the frame D. I just need to close the lenses a bit. So here we have the safety cage, we have the side panels, and we have the floor panel. On the side panels, the interesting feature is that we have the M4 GT3 pre-molded here. I guess that's how it is written on the real car, which is quite a nice touch, but I wonder if it is actually somehow accentuated with the separate color, or maybe it's just a small embossing, which kind of reminds driver on which car he is driving. Next we have the last black plastic sprue, and it's actually the biggest one, so it's a bit tricky to open because it's a tight fitment in the plastic bag. But still, I've just opened it, and we will take a closer look in a second. So here we have the floor panel, which looks quite nice. I really like what we get here in terms of the surface features, and it's only the question how to show them on the finished model. Maybe it would be a good idea to get the mirror stand so that you can show what is underneath. Note that the brake rotors are molded together with the calipers. This is something what is tricky to paint, but well, you will have to work around this. As for the suspension, it's rather simple from what I see here, so I would prefer to have something more detailed for this price, but well, you have to also work with this. And obviously I think the wheels will not be turning on the model, even though these suspension arms suggest otherwise, so probably you can position the car wheels in a necessary direction, which is also useful for some diorama ideas or display ideas. Next we have the decals and masks, and yes, masks are included, so this is really cool. I think for this price it's a must-have, and also for this scale it's a must-have, because it makes the whole process a bit more enjoyable. But first let's start with the decals, because we have there several decal sheets. Here is the first one. And let's close the lenses a bit. So as you can see here, we have some sections of this, let's say, marking. Next we have some black areas for the marking. So I will show them in a second. They look like this. So as you can see, you don't have to do actually some masking. You can apply those decals and you'll get the black areas, which is really useful. And it should save you some time while painting this car. And last but not the least is the biggest one. So here we have the seat belts, we have some interior decals, and we have some sponsor names as well. So all of this stuff is provided here. And I think with a careful application you should be fine. Note that there are even some decals for the tires, which is kind of nice touch. It's not some weird transition stickers. It's actually real decals. Next, we also have the pre-cut masks. So as you can see, they are for all transparencies. And this is a really useful bonus in this type of kit. So definitely a welcome thing. And last but not the least is the assembly manual, which is printed in black and white. And that's why I'm confused, because there is no marking guide in color. And again, we are returning back to the point that it's a good idea to find some references with the, real photos of the real car. And here you can see the assembly process. We start with the chassis assembly, and then we continue with the rear axle. We assemble the cockpit, and already on this moment you will be using a lot of decals. So plan your paint work accordingly, because in some cases it will be really difficult to reach these parts later. Here you can see the door cards being installed. Obviously there is no engine replicated in this kit because we have the bonnet shut anyway. Now you use the supplied mesh for the air intake. Next we continue also with the body assembly. So here again we have some separate body panels, so pay attention to how they should be fitted onto the car model. Here we have the masks application guide, and then the clear parts installation. Then we have here the more parts being installed on the car body, and I wonder why they use the decals suggestions here and there. So you will have to do it throughout the work, which is not that, I would say, engaging. It would be better to have the decals in this marking guide, which is black and white, which is not cool because it's, as you can see, the dark colored marking, and it's not that clear which color should be where. So definitely pay attention to some real photos. And here we have the parts map. So overall I think it's a decent kit, especially for fans of the German car manufacturer. In this scale I think it's the only offering, and it offers quite a nice quality out of the box. But what is not cool is that they still insist on those black and white manuals, where they could have at least printed the marking guide in color on the separate paper, but it's not the case with this kit. And of course I will be happy to hear your opinion, so write it here in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.